Listen carefully. Most people are afraid of failure. But there is something even more frightening: becoming the person you were always meant to be. Because the day you decide to reinvent yourself is the day your old life begins to fight back. Nothing around you changes overnight, but everything inside you does. That is where the real pain begins. Nobody talks about this part. People celebrate success. They admire confidence. They praise discipline. But they rarely speak about the lonely road that creates those things. They never show you the mornings when you question every decision. They never show you the nights when you wonder if all the sacrifice is worth it. They never show you the uncomfortable silence that comes when you stop living like everyone else. Reinventing yourself is painful because it asks you to leave behind the version of yourself that feels familiar, even if that version is keeping you trapped. Your mind loves familiarity. It would rather stay inside a life that makes you unhappy than step into a future it cannot predict. That is why change feels so difficult. Not because you cannot do it, because your brain mistakes familiarity for safety. Every time you try to become someone new, an invisible voice appears. It tells you to slow down, to wait, to stay where you are. It reminds you of your failures. It reminds you of your fears. It reminds you of every reason you might not succeed. That voice is not trying to help you grow. It is trying to keep you comfortable. Comfort has protected you for years, but comfort has also stolen years from you. Think about how many dreams have disappeared because comfort seemed easier. How many opportunities were ignored because fear sounded convincing. How many mornings became wasted because tomorrow felt guaranteed. You already know what that life feels like. You have lived it. You know what it feels like to promise yourself that things will change. You know what it feels like to wake up inspired for a day, maybe even a week, then slowly fall back into the same routine. The same habits, the same distractions, the same excuses. At first it happens so quietly that you barely notice. One skipped workout, one extra hour scrolling, one task postponed until tomorrow, one promise broken. None of those moments seem important themselves. But life is never changed by one decision alone. It is shaped by repeated decisions. Every action teaches your mind who you are. Every excuse strengthens your old identity. Every disciplined choice strengthens your new one. Right now, whether you realize it or not, two different versions of you are competing for control. One wants immediate comfort. The other wants lasting growth. One wants easy rewards. The other wants meaningful progress. One wants to stay exactly where it is. The other refuses to settle. Every choice you make feeds one of those versions. There is no neutral decision. Even doing nothing is a decision. Waiting is a decision. Avoiding discomfort is a decision. Choosing distraction is a decision. The question is simple. Which version are you feeding today? The hardest part about reinventing yourself is not learning something new. It is unlearning what has been holding you back. You must unlearn the habit of doubting yourself. You must unlearn the habit of seeking approval before taking action. You must unlearn the belief that you need motivation before you begin. You must unlearn the idea that comfort equals happiness, because it does not. Comfort often creates quiet misery. It keeps you safe, but it also keeps you small. Growth asks something different from you. Growth asks you to become uncomfortable on purpose, to wake up when your bed feels warm, to keep working when your mind asks for another break, to remain focused while the world fights for your attention, to continue when nobody notices your effort. That is why discipline is so rare. It asks you to sacrifice today's comfort for tomorrow's freedom. Most people are unwilling to make that trade. They want the reward without the process. They want confidence without facing fear. They want success without repeated failure. They want respect without earning it. Life does not work that way. Everything valuable has a cost. Strength costs comfort. Wisdom costs mistakes. Confidence costs action. Discipline costs convenience. Peace costs letting go. The only question is whether you are willing to pay. Many people believe pain is a sign that they are doing something wrong. Sometimes pain is proof that you are finally doing something right. The pain of waking up early. The pain of saying no to distractions. The pain of staying consistent. The pain of letting go of people who keep you stuck. The pain of leaving behind habits that once defined you. That pain is different. It has purpose. It leads somewhere. Compare that to the pain of regret. The pain of wasted years, the pain of unrealized potential, the pain of watching life move forward while you remain in the same place. Both paths contain pain. Only one leads to growth. This is why reinvention requires courage. Not because you know what will happen, because you continue even when you do not know. You step forward without guarantees. You trust your actions before you trust your feelings. You build discipline before confidence. You create momentum before certainty. That is how every meaningful transformation begins. Not with certainty, with commitment. Commitment means showing up before you believe in yourself. Commitment means continuing after the excitement disappears. Commitment means staying faithful to the future you cannot yet see. This is where most people turn back. The beginning is exciting. You make plans, you set goals, you imagine the life you're about to create. Then reality arrives. The work becomes repetitive. Results come slowly. Nobody notices your effort. Your old habits begin calling your name again. That is the moment that decides everything. Not the first day. Not the first week. The day when quitting feels reasonable. Because anyone can continue while they feel inspired. Very few continue when they feel nothing at all. Those are the people who change their lives. They understand that emotions are temporary, but identity is built through repetition. Every disciplined action becomes another vote for the person you want to become. Every excuse becomes another vote for the person you are trying to leave behind. You are always voting. Every morning, every afternoon, every night. You cannot escape that responsibility. Your future is counting every choice. Your character is being shaped by every habit. Your life is becoming whatever you repeatedly practice. That truth is uncomfortable. But it is also freeing, because it means your future is not decided by luck. It is not decided by talent alone. It is not decided by where you started. It is decided by what you choose to repeat, day after day.
Week after week, year after year. Reinventing yourself is not one dramatic moment. It is thousands of quiet moments where you choose your future over your comfort. No applause, no audience.
No celebration, just you, making one decision after another. Until one day you realize something extraordinary. The person you used to be no longer feels familiar. The habits that once controlled you no longer have power. The excuses that once sounded convincing now sound weak. The fears that once stopped you now become challenges you are willing to face. That is when reinvention truly begins. Not when your circumstances change, when your standards change. And once your standards rise, your entire life begins to follow. The moment your standards begin to rise, something unexpected happens. The people around you may not celebrate. Some will question you. Some will doubt you. Some will laugh. Some will tell you that you have changed. And they will be right. You have changed. That is the entire point. Do not expect everyone to understand a journey they never chose to take. Many people become uncomfortable when they see someone else becoming disciplined. Not because discipline is wrong, because it reminds them of the promises they broke to themselves. Your growth becomes a mirror, and not everyone is ready to look into it. Do not waste your energy trying to convince people that your new direction is the right one. Your actions will speak louder than your explanations ever could. The strongest response is not an argument. It is consistency. Every day you remain committed, you become harder to doubt. Every day you keep your promises, you become harder to stop. Your life becomes the evidence. There is another pain that comes with reinventing yourself. The pain of loneliness, not because nobody loves you, because fewer people understand you. When you stop chasing distractions, your days become quieter. When you stop seeking constant approval, your phone becomes quieter. When you stop following the crowd, your path becomes quieter. At first, that silence feels uncomfortable. You begin wondering if something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. Silence is often where growth begins. For years you filled every empty moment with noise, music, videos, social media, conversations that led nowhere, constant stimulation, anything to avoid being alone with your own thoughts. But reinvention demands something different. It demands reflection. It asks you to sit with yourself, to face the questions you have avoided. Who are you when nobody is watching? Who are you without distractions? Who are you without validation? Who are you when there is no audience? Those questions are difficult, but they are necessary, because you cannot build a new identity without understanding the old one. Many people spend years trying to improve their lives without ever understanding why they keep repeating the same mistakes. Patterns never disappear by accident. They disappear through awareness. Maybe you always quit when things become difficult. Maybe you always seek comfort when stress appears. Maybe you always compare yourself to everyone else. Maybe you keep waiting for permission. Whatever your pattern is, you cannot change what you refuse to see. Awareness comes first. Action comes second. That is why honest reflection is one of the most powerful habits you can build. Every evening, ask yourself a simple question. Did I become stronger today? Not richer, not more popular. Stronger. Did I keep my word? Did I choose discipline over comfort? Did I spend my time wisely? Did I move closer to the person I want to become? Those questions slowly transform your life because they force you to stop drifting. Most people drift. They wake up, react to whatever happens, scroll through endless information, handle small problems, complain about being busy, then go to sleep wondering why nothing changes. Days become weeks, weeks become months, months become years. Without intention, life slips away. Do not let that become your story. Take ownership of your mornings. The way you begin your day shapes the way you live your life. If the first thing you do every morning is reach for distraction, distraction becomes your habit. If the first thing you do is choose discipline, discipline becomes your identity. The first hour of your day is powerful. Protect it, guard it. Do not give it away to things that add nothing to your future. Spend it building yourself, reading something that challenges your thinking, moving your body, planning your priorities, working toward your goals before the world demands your attention. These small decisions seem ordinary, but ordinary decisions repeated long enough become extraordinary results. People often search for dramatic breakthroughs. They overlook daily routines. Yet your routine quietly shapes your destiny. Your future is hidden inside what you repeat, not inside what you occasionally do. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. You do not have to change your entire life in one day. You simply need to refuse to waste today. Then repeat that decision tomorrow and the day after. Progress compounds, just like failure does. One lazy day rarely destroys your future, but repeated laziness does. One disciplined day rarely changes your life, but repeated discipline does. Never underestimate small actions. A tiny habit repeated every day becomes a completely different person. Imagine placing one small stone on the ground every single day. For a while, nothing seems different. Weeks pass, still nothing remarkable. Months pass. Then, one day you look back. There is a wall. That is how discipline works. The wall is not built in one day. It is built one stone at a time. Your confidence grows the same way. Your character grows the same way. Your future grows the same way. Brick by brick, choice by choice. The pain of reinvention is that nobody can build those bricks for you. People can encourage you, books can inspire you, videos can motivate you. But when the alarm rings before sunrise, only you can get out of bed. When distractions call your name, only you can stay focused. When excuses appear, only you can reject them. That responsibility may seem heavy, but it is also your greatest freedom. Because if your future depends on your daily choices, then your future is still in your hands, not in your past, not in your mistakes, not in your circumstances, in your next decision. There is incredible power in realizing that. You stop blaming, you stop complaining, you stop waiting, you begin building. Slowly, quietly, relentlessly. People may not notice at first. They may even think nothing has changed. Let them think that. Seeds grow underground before anyone sees the tree. Your transformation will also begin where nobody can see it, inside your mind, inside your habits, inside your daily discipline. One day the results will become visible. But by then, the real victory will already have happened. You will have become someone who no longer depends on motivation. Someone who keeps moving even when it is difficult. Someone who trusts themselves because they have earned that trust. Someone who no longer fears discomfort because they understand it is part of growth. That version of you already exists. Not in another life, not in another year. Inside every disciplined choice you make today. Every time you choose purpose over pleasure, you meet that person. Every time you choose consistency over convenience, you become that person. Every time you refuse to return to the habits that once kept you trapped, your old identity grows weaker, and your new life grows stronger. That is the hidden truth about reinventing yourself. It does not happen when the world finally believes in you. It happens when you finally become someone who no longer needs the world's permission. The hardest part of becoming someone new is accepting that the old version of you must disappear. Not someday, now. You cannot carry every old habit into your future. You cannot carry every excuse. You cannot carry every fear. You cannot carry every limiting belief. Some things must be left behind. That is why reinvention feels like loss, because in many ways it is. You are losing a way of thinking, a way of living, a way of reacting, a way of settling. For years, your old identity has protected itself. It convinced you that playing small was safe. It convinced you that waiting was wise. It convinced you that comfort was success. Now you are asking that identity to step aside. Do not expect it to leave quietly. It will fight, not with fists, with thoughts. It will remind you of your failures. It will replay your embarrassing moments. It will whisper that you are not ready, that you are too late, that people like you never change. Listen carefully. Those thoughts are not predictions. They are resistance. Every meaningful transformation creates resistance. The moment you begin improving your life, resistance appears. It appears when the alarm clock rings. It appears when your muscles are tired. It appears when your phone lights up with another distraction. It appears when nobody notices your progress. Resistance is not proof that you should stop. It is proof that you are moving in the right direction. Think about climbing a mountain. The higher you climb, the steeper the path becomes. You do not complain that the mountain is difficult. You expect it. Growth works the same way. If becoming your best self were easy, everyone would do it. The difficulty is what makes the reward valuable. There is another truth that most people avoid. You cannot reinvent yourself while protecting your old environment. If every day looks exactly the same, if every habit stays the same, if every influence remains the same, why would your future be different? Your environment shapes your behavior more than you realize. Look around your room. Look at your desk. Look at your phone. Look at the people who occupy most of your time. Everything around you is quietly influencing who you become. If your environment encourages distraction, you will fight distraction every day. If your environment encourages discipline, discipline becomes easier. This is why serious change requires difficult decisions. Sometimes you must clean your room before you can clear your mind. Sometimes you must turn off your phone before you can hear your own thoughts. Sometimes you must spend less time with people who celebrate excuses and more time with people who value growth. These decisions are uncomfortable, but they create space. Space for focus, space for discipline, space for peace. Many people say they want a different life. Very few are willing to create a different environment. Do not underestimate your surroundings. Your future is being shaped by what you repeatedly see, what you repeatedly hear, what you repeatedly consume. Protect your mind, not because the world is evil, because your attention is valuable. Your attention is your life. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. Where your energy goes, your future grows. If you spend every day feeding your mind with negativity, do not expect optimism. If you spend every day feeding your mind with distraction, do not expect focus. If you spend every day feeding your mind with excuses, do not expect discipline. Feed your mind carefully. It becomes everything you repeatedly give it. Imagine your mind as a garden. Every thought is a seed. Every habit is water. Every action is sunlight. You cannot plant weeds every day and expect flowers. You cannot plant doubt every day and expect confidence. You cannot plant laziness every day and expect greatness. Your harvest depends on what you plant every single day. There will be moments when nobody believes in your vision. Accept that. There will be moments when your progress seems invisible. Accept that. There will be moments when you feel like you are walking alone. Accept that too, because loneliness is often the price of becoming uncommon. Most people choose the crowded path, the path of comfort, the path of excuses, the path of average. You are choosing something different. Do not expect it to feel popular. Expect it to feel meaningful. One day the people who doubted you may admire your results. Do not work for that day. Work for the day you look into the mirror with complete respect for yourself. Because self-respect is worth more than applause. Applause fades, self-respect stays. You earn self-respect through action, not through wishing, not through talking, not through planning, through doing. Every completed task strengthens it. Every promise kept strengthens it. Every difficult decision strengthens it. One day you suddenly realize something remarkable. You no longer argue with yourself before doing what needs to be done. You simply do it. The internal battle becomes quieter, not because life became easier, Because discipline became your default. That is the hidden reward. The beginning is difficult, but consistency changes your nature. The actions that once required enormous effort become automatic. Waking up early, working when you do not feel like it, choosing healthy habits, reading instead of scrolling, building instead of complaining. At first, these actions feel forced, then they feel familiar. Eventually, they become who you are. That is identity, not something you announce, something you repeatedly prove. Imagine how different your life could become if your daily habits no longer depended on your emotions. Imagine waking up and taking action whether you felt inspired or not. Imagine trusting yourself completely because you always follow through. Imagine carrying a quiet confidence that no criticism could shake. That confidence is available to you, not through magic, not through luck, through repetition. Every disciplined day whispers the same message to your mind. I am becoming stronger. Every excuse whispers a different message. I cannot trust myself. Decide which message you want to hear a year from now, because your mind never forgets the evidence you give it. It remembers every promise you keep. It remembers every promise you break. Eventually, those memories become your identity. Choose carefully, because identity becomes destiny. The life you build tomorrow depends on the person you become today. Not next month, not next year. Today. The pain of reinventing yourself will not last forever, but the reward can last a lifetime. The discomfort is temporary. The discipline remains. The fear is temporary. The courage remains. The sacrifice is temporary. The transformation remains. Every day you continue despite resistance, despite doubt, despite slow progress. You are becoming someone your past could never imagine. Someone calmer, someone stronger, someone more focused, someone who no longer waits for permission to live with purpose. And when that day arrives, you will understand something that most people never do. The pain was never your enemy. It was your invitation. An invitation to leave behind the person you had outgrown and step into the life that had been waiting for you all along. There comes a moment when you stop asking whether change is possible. You begin asking a different question. How much longer am I willing to stay the same? That question changes everything, because it shifts your attention away from fear and toward responsibility. You stop wondering if you can reinvent yourself. You start wondering why you have waited so long. The truth is that your old life has already shown you everything it has to offer. The same habits, the same excuses, the same distractions, the same results. If nothing changes, nothing changes. That sounds obvious. Yet, millions of people wake up every day expecting a different future while repeating the same routine. Hope without action becomes another form of delay. Dreams without discipline become another form of entertainment. You cannot imagine your way into a different life. You must build it, one decision at a time. There is a quiet strength that begins to grow inside you when you stop looking for shortcuts. You stop asking how to become successful overnight. You stop searching for the perfect system. You stop believing there is one secret that everyone else knows. Instead, you begin trusting simple actions. Wake up, do the work, keep your word, learn, improve, rest, repeat. It sounds almost too simple. That is why most people ignore it. They are looking for something exciting. Transformation is rarely exciting. Most of it feels ordinary. You wake up before the sun. You finish work that nobody will praise. You say no to things that once controlled you. You make difficult choices that nobody understands. Day after day, week after week, nothing dramatic. Until one day, everything is different. That is how real change happens. Not in one unforgettable moment, in thousands of forgettable moments that slowly reshape your identity. The world celebrates outcomes. Life rewards process. Fall in love with the process, because the process is where your future is created. Do not become attached to immediate results. Become attached to becoming better. Results will follow. A tree does not grow because it stares at its branches. It grows because its roots become stronger. Your habits are your roots. Strengthen them, protect them, respect them. Every habit you repeat is becoming part of your character. Character is what remains when nobody is watching, when there are no cameras, no audience, no applause, just you, alone, facing another ordinary day. That is where greatness is decided, not on stages, not in front of crowds, inside the quiet choices that nobody else will ever see. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing they must feel confident before they act. Confidence is not the beginning, it is the reward. Action comes first. Confidence follows. Think about the first time you tried anything difficult. You were uncertain, awkward, slow. You made mistakes, but you continued. Eventually, what once felt impossible became normal. Life works that way. Everything meaningful begins with discomfort. The first workout feels difficult. The first early morning feels exhausting. The first disciplined week feels unnatural. The first difficult conversation feels terrifying. Then something changes. Not overnight, little by little. You become the kind of person who no longer argues with discipline. You simply live it. That is the goal. Not to force yourself forever, to become someone for whom discipline is natural. There will still be difficult days. Do not expect perfection. Expect persistence. Some mornings your energy will be low. Some days your mind will wander. Some weeks progress will feel invisible. Continue anyway, because consistency matters more than perfection ever will. Perfection waits for ideal conditions. Consistency creates progress under imperfect conditions. That is why consistency wins every single time. The version of you that is waiting on the other side of this journey is not superhuman. They are simply someone who refused to stop. They failed, but they continued. They doubted themselves, but they continued. They became tired, but they continued. They lost motivation, but they continued. Eventually, continuing became their identity. Imagine if quitting no longer felt like an option. Imagine if excuses no longer sounded convincing. Imagine if your standards became so high that your old habits no longer fit inside your life. That future is possible. Not because you suddenly become fearless, because your purpose becomes greater than your fear. Purpose changes everything. Without purpose, discipline feels heavy. With purpose, discipline becomes meaningful. Know why you are changing. Know why you are sacrificing. Know why you are saying no to comfort. Your reason must be stronger than your excuses. Otherwise, your excuses will always win. There will always be another distraction, another excuse, another delay, another reason to wait. Life will never remove those obstacles. You must become stronger than them. That is the true meaning of reinvention. Not changing your appearance, changing your standards, changing your mindset, changing the way you respond when life becomes difficult. The strongest people are not those who never struggle. They are the ones who refuse to surrender to struggle. Every challenge asks the same question. Will you become smaller or stronger? Every setback asks the same question. Will you complain or grow? Every failure asks the same question. Will you quit or learn? Life keeps asking. Your actions keep answering. One day those answers become your identity. and your identity becomes your destiny. When you finally understand this, something inside you becomes peaceful. You stop comparing yourself to everyone else. You stop rushing the process. You stop chasing approval. You become focused on one thing, keeping your promise to yourself. That promise becomes sacred. No matter how slowly you move, you move. No matter how difficult the road becomes, you continue. No matter how many times you fall, you stand up again. That is what separates people who dream from people who transform. Not talent, not luck, not perfect circumstances. The decision to continue, again and again, until the person you used to be becomes nothing more than a distant memory. One day, you will wake up and realize something you never noticed while it was happening. The person you used to be is gone, not because one dramatic event changed your life, because thousands of small decisions quietly rewrote your identity. That is how real transformation works. It is almost invisible while you are living it. Then one day you look back. The habits that once controlled you no longer exist. The fears that once stopped you have become smaller. The excuses that once sounded convincing have lost their voice. You are no longer fighting to become someone different. You have become someone different. That is the reward. Not fame, not money, not recognition. Freedom. The freedom to trust yourself. The freedom to wake up with purpose. The freedom to make difficult decisions without running from discomfort. The freedom to live according to your values instead of your emotions. Most people spend their lives searching for freedom in the outside world. A better job, more money, more status, more comfort. But the greatest prison has never been outside of you. It has always been inside. The prison of fear, the prison of procrastination, the prison of self-doubt, the prison of waiting for the perfect moment. When you break those chains, your life changes forever. You begin to understand that discipline was never restricting you. It was setting you free. Every promise you keep to yourself becomes another key. Every difficult decision becomes another step toward independence. Every sacrifice becomes another investment in your future. Think about who you were 1 year ago. You have changed, whether you realize it or not. Now imagine who you could become 1 year from today if you committed completely. Not halfway. Not when it feels convenient. Completely. Imagine waking up with a clear mind instead of endless excuses. Imagine looking in the mirror and feeling respect instead of disappointment. Imagine facing difficult situations with calm because you know you can trust yourself. Imagine walking into every room without needing approval because your confidence comes from your actions. That future is not reserved for someone else. It belongs to the person willing to earn it. And earning it is not glamorous. It happens in silence. When everyone else is asleep, when nobody is watching, when there are no cameras, no applause, no rewards, only your character making another choice. Those moments define your future. Never underestimate them. The world often celebrates dramatic success. But dramatic success is almost always built on ordinary discipline. A single workout changes very little. Years of training transform a body. 1 page changes very little. Years of reading transform a mind. 1 honest conversation changes very little. Years of truth transform relationships. 1 disciplined morning changes very little. Years of disciplined mornings transform a life. This is why patience matters. The greatest things in life grow slowly. A tree does not become mighty overnight. A mountain is not shaped in a single storm. A powerful mind is not built in 1 difficult day. Everything meaningful requires time. Respect the process. Do not rush your transformation. Do not compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Your journey belongs to you. Walk it with patience. Walk it with courage. Walk it with discipline. There will still be moments when you doubt yourself. That does not mean you are failing. There will still be days when you feel tired. That does not mean you should stop. There will still be obstacles, unexpected setbacks, disappointments, losses. Life will continue testing you. Let it. Every challenge is asking the same question. Have you truly changed? Not when life is easy. When life is hard, can you stay disciplined when nobody is encouraging you? Can you stay focused when distractions surround you? Can you remain calm when everything feels uncertain? Can you keep moving when progress seems invisible? If the answer is yes, then you have already won. Because the greatest victory is not over other people. It is over the version of yourself that wanted to stay small. The version that believed comfort was enough. The version that waited for permission. The version that allowed fear to make decisions. Leave that version behind. Thank it for getting you this far. Then let it go. You do not need to hate who you used to be. You simply cannot allow that person to lead your future. Honor your past. Learn from it, but do not live inside it. Your best days have never been behind you. They are waiting in front of you, waiting for the version of you who finally decides to stop negotiating with mediocrity. Waiting for the version of you who no longer chooses comfort over purpose. Waiting for the version of you who understands that greatness is not an accident. It is a habit. From this day forward, protect your time, protect your attention, protect your standards, protect your peace. The world will constantly ask you to become distracted. Do not give it your future. The world will constantly offer comfort. Do not trade your potential for temporary ease. Remember this whenever you feel like giving up. You are not just changing your habits. You are changing your identity. You are teaching yourself what kind of person you are. Every disciplined action whispers the same truth. I keep my word. I do difficult things. I finish what I start. I refuse to settle. Repeat those actions long enough, and those words stop being hopes. They become facts. That is the moment your life changes forever. Not because someone finally believed in you, because you finally believed in yourself. Not through empty confidence, through undeniable evidence. Evidence collected one disciplined day at a time. Years from now, people may ask what your secret was. They may think you found the perfect opportunity, the perfect strategy, the perfect timing. You will know the truth. There was no secret. There was only a decision made again and again, to wake up, to show up, to stay consistent, to keep going, especially when it was hard, especially when nobody noticed, especially when the old version of you begged to return. That is the pain of reinventing yourself. It is the pain of leaving behind everything that no longer serves you. It is the pain of breaking habits that once felt impossible to escape. It is the pain of becoming unfamiliar to the person you used to be. But on the other side of that pain is something worth every sacrifice. A life built on purpose, a mind built on discipline, a heart built on courage, a character built on consistency, and a future built by your own hands. So make your choice. Do not wait for another Monday. Do not wait for another month. Do not wait for another year. Your future is not created when you finally feel ready. Your future is created the moment you decide that your old life no longer deserves another day. Stand up. Take responsibility. Accept the discomfort. Embrace the process. Keep your promises. Protect your vision. Stay patient. Stay disciplined. Keep moving. Because one day you will look back at this version of yourself and realize that the greatest gift you ever gave your future was having the courage to let your old self disappear. From that moment on, nothing could stop the person you had become. Because you no longer feared the pain of change. You feared the pain of staying the same, and that made all the difference.